I have created a monster. My son, okay? So growing up, I was actually illiterate for a long period of time. Very, very long story short, they discovered this in grade 2. So I had to do grade 2 at school and then go home and do phonics in order to get into grade 3. So being illiterate, and then going into an older grade, I had one of those teachers show up, and I remember being in detention. I was always in trouble, and she showed up and I was doodling, and she passed me a dictionary. It's clear as day. Like, this is a core memory of mine, of me sitting there doodling, and she came up to me and she goes, "You're not allowed to draw pictures in detention. You need to be doing homework, be doing something productive." And I said, "Okay." And so she walked away, came back with a dictionary, slid it on the table, and she said, "Because I know you struggle." And that was a moment in my life where I was like, I will never be considered dumb again. Now, one thing that I've noticed coming on TikTok, and basically the whole world, is having conversations about the rates of people not being literate, not having media literacy, kids being bad at math, just like, especially like I had my son when it was COVID, like when the lockdowns were happening during COVID. And so a lot of kids were getting homeschooled. So one of the things I was hearing a lot is that it was getting worse. So he started school. He's now in grade 2. He is one of the things that I would do when he was having tantrums or having meltdowns when he was little, or like a lot littler, is I would do like fake color. So if he was in the middle of a tantrum, I would be like, "Oh my God, like, isn't it crazy that like Chase is the dog with like the green outfit?" And he would stop his tantrum or stop his meltdown and he'd be like, "Chase doesn't have a green outfit." And I'd be like, "No, I'm pretty sure Chase does have a green outfit." And then he would like correct me on the color of the outfit. And I'd be like, "Okay, well, which one does have the green outfit?" And we would go through and we like worked on colors that way. And then when he started learning like basic math, like 1 + 1, I was like, "Isn't it crazy that like 1 + 1 = 4? And he's like, "1 + 1 does not equal 4. And I was like, "I'm pretty sure it equals 4. And he goes, "No, 1 + 1 = 2. Right? So like I kind of made it into a game, but a lot of the times like my son does not like going to sleep. It's always been a fucking problem from the day he's been born. I love sleep. He hates sleep. So one of the ways that I would calm him down at bedtime, because again, that's when we would deal with the most amount of dysregulation, I guess, it would be like doing math. Then he found number blocks. Okay, I don't think that TV is bad. I think that TV can be like a learning thing. And one of the things he found was number blocks. Now, number blocks actually has like characters. So every number is a character. They have different colors. You like pop them together. You know, when you were in school and they would do like math with the blocks. So it has all, this is not a plug. So I bought him the first numbers 1 through 10, and then he really wanted the bigger set. It goes all the way to 20, so he got that, and he played with these for so long because you put them together and then you can make bigger numbers, you can take them apart. He had so much fun with it, because again, I was also just really concerned that he would get to, I did not want him to get to where I was really struggling with, I just didn't want him to struggle the way that I did when I was younger. When I was in high school, so my older brother's really, really good at math. Like, he won a Euclid, like he won awards for math. He's very, very good at math. I went into grade 11 and we had like university level math, and I was doing so bad. I remember the teacher, her name was I think it was Mrs. Brown. I was struggling so hard in her class, and my mom actually hired me a tutor. She came over for like 1 or 2 tutoring sessions, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is amazing." And that teacher actually ended, she was a UC teacher. So it was like a level below university, but not at a college level. So I went into her class and I swear to God, I got a 99 in that class. The way that she taught math just absolutely made sense to me. And I actually fell in love with algebra. Like, I loved algebra so much that when I went into university as an elective, I was in an arts program. I actually took math as an elective because I just love algebra. It sounds really fucking nerdy when I say it. But anyways, to get back to my son. So we did number blocks. And so we would do addition, and minuses were harder for him, but we were doing that. And then he moved into multiplication. And so I still do the same thing at night with him, where like he likes to do some math equation, or if he's just like stuck on something or looped on something, I'll just be like, "Oh, start talking about math," and he like loves it. And then he's really into Rubik's Cubes right now. So he has a 2x2 Rubik's Cube, and then he has a 3x3 Rubik's Cube, which is also really good for their brains and for memory, because it's actually, it's an algorithm. It's just a pattern they have to learn. And once they learn that, it's just really good for them. And my kid, like, he's in grade 2 now, and we're starting algebra on our own volition, because I was telling him that it's really important to learn how to read because he loves math so much. I'm like, it's really important to learn how to read because once you get to a certain level of math, you have to be able to read, right? Because in order to do math equations, not only does algebra have like letters, but there's also word problems. But he's really stuck on algebra, and he's like, what do you mean that like math has letters? So we're starting algebra now. I just wanted to make this video because I think that sometimes people overthink things when it comes to kids, and like it has to be this like sit down, it has to be very structured, but kids learn through play, and this is kind of how I've been able to incorporate learning and play together. And honestly, I will say that like number blocks was an absolute fucking game changer. Like this was fantastic, and this was the thing that I'm very grateful for. And like now he can do multiplication tables and he can do addition and subtraction in his head, like without paper, without like putting a pen down or pencil down to paper. He just does it in his head. Still a little bit of struggle with like subtraction, especially when it's uneven numbers. But it's just the fact that like I feel like I've done my due diligence, but it's almost getting to the point where like he was asking more about math, and I was like, oh, I love algebra. And he's like, is that the hardest version of math? And I was like, no, I'm pretty sure it's calculus. My brother's really, really good at calculus. He almost got a double major in math, but I was like, that one is above my pay grade. So you're going to have to go talk to your uncle about that, because when it comes to math, I'm not that person. But now like the other day he was getting really upset with me because we were going to bed, and he's like, you told me we were going to do multiplication tables and you haven't done them with me, and it's bedtime, and you said you were going to do them at bedtime, so are we going to do them or not? What? And I was just sitting there, and I was like, I called my mom the next day, and I was like, you'll never believe what has become a problem in our life is my kid wanting to do multiplication in the morning at like 7 a.m. He'll be like asking me multiplication questions, and I'm like, oh, like this is the answer. And he goes, are you tired? I'm like, no, I'm not tired, but like it is 7 a.m.